Rallying. What is it? Most of us have seen or heard of car rallies. Some people quickly get an image of a Sunday afternoon drive, whereas others have a different image. One of expensive cars driving at incredibly high speeds across unimaginably harsh terrain, being watched by thousands, if not millions, of spectators. Both of these views are true, as the sport of rallying encompasses a wide range of involvement. Worldwide, the sport is amongst the top 10 most popular sports, ranking right up there with hockey and soccer. Here in Western Canada, it's a lot less popular, but it still goes on and is slowly gaining an audience. The dedication of the people involved keep this sport going. They're also one of the basic drawing cards for the sport. Today, we want to find out how these people got involved, what keeps them involved, and also along the way, we want to find out why it's one of the more popular sports in the rest of the world. But first, we have to answer the original question. What is rallying?
It's challenging yourself against an area where you necessarily don't know what's awaiting you around the next corner. In Europe, it's the second most popular sport next to soccer. In North America, it's like right up there with tiddlywinks and stuff. I can't explain it.
In a performance or pro rally, the crew, which consists of a driver and a co-driver, leave the starting point. Using a set of supplied instructions, they transit the rally car to the start of the first special stage. The special stage is where the competitive portion of the rally takes place. It is a section of road, usually narrow and twisty, that has been closed to the public. A control point is set up at each end of this stage. The rally cars enter this control zone at 1-minute intervals and are assigned start times, also at 1-minute intervals. From this start zone, the cars proceed as fast as possible to the finish control. Here, their arrival time is recorded. The cars then transit to the start of the next special stage, where again they race the clock. A complete rally will consist of numerous special stages, all linked together with transits. The final transit will take the competitors back to the starting point. The winner of the rally is the competitor that took the shortest time to complete all the special stages.
I think generally here in North America, the way the sport is run, where it is basically unknown roads and that sort of thing, there is obviously a challenge for people who don't see themselves as racers, but don't see themselves going around and around on a track. And I think that's what people, that's the challenge.
So it's an all-out race, basically, except that we don't race side by side.
As with most sports, the equipment used is highly specialized. The cars involved in rallying look ordinary enough, and they must be legal for use on ordinary roads with normal traffic. But when one looks past the multicolored paint and the shiny deckled surfaces, the true nature of these cars can be seen. The beginner will generally start with an old car and add the required safety gear, possibly some paint, and he's ready to enter. The top entrants will usually be driving what amounts to a full-blown race car, with enough equipment added on to make it street legal.
Extremely modified. It's about the only thing that is left on that car that is same as street is the body.
The safety facilities we have in that car are completely different from any other road car. The roll cage, the safety seats and the safety harnesses.
Building a top rally car takes a lot of time, not to mention money. And then, who's going to keep it running for the entire duration of an event? It's going to need gas, maybe oil, and what happens when you hit that big stone in the middle of the road and bend the suspension? Here's where your team becomes very important.
If you don't have a team, you're not going to go very far in rallying.
Definitely running with a team works much better. It's less pressure because you know that things are taken care of. When you run by yourself, there is a lot of pressure, and the sport could actually become a nuisance because you go to a rally. I know of several people, including me, in earlier days in which I was trying to do it by myself. It was really hard. I have to try to make sure the car was ready, and then I got there, and there's so many things.
The team helps build, maintain, and service the car. The skills required to accomplish the tasks needed to field a winning car are diverse. Thus, a diverse team has the best chance of doing well in rallying. So, hi, how are you? Who are you?
I'm Myron Wintonic. I'm one of the service crews for this car. I'm from Edmonton. The rest of the crew's from Calgary.
So, why do you do this kind of sport?
Why do I do this? Well, it's a good time. You meet great people. Nice days like today, you get to stand out in the sun.
It's great, eh?
Just a good time.
You like doing it for just a good time and fun, eh?
Yes. No other reason.
Sounds good. Is it very expensive? Personally for you?
For me? No, it's not expensive at all. Mostly the driver pays for the expenses, the driver and the co-driver. But we try to keep it as cheap as possible, obviously.
Great. And so, if you have to do a lot of work on the car, does that get pretty involved, or?
It can. It can range from simple things like washing the windows to changing a transmission in 20 minutes or so.
This one's
Complete range of things.
okay. Set them down to 32.
Okay, thanks. We'll probably talk to you again some more, but.
Did you find some fire thingies, Catherine?
No, that works better when it works that way.
Oh, okay. So how are we doing?
Hi.
How you doing?
What's your name?
My name is Barry Currency.
Hi, are you on UM's team?
Yes, I am. I am the service crew
You're the service
and
crew
car
today.
prep person.
So it looks like you're cooking some
Chief.
food here now.
This is my job.
Is that part of the service crew requirements?
This is mostly what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't. The car never breaks. We put gas in it, but
If it does break, what do you do?
fix it.
You don't just wave it off and say, yeah, nice day.
So you come back later. No. No, we actually fix it.
Does that get rather involved sometimes, or?
Sometimes, like the worst thing that we ever had to do was play with the fuel system at one rally, and as it turned out, there's nothing matter with the fuel system. It was the fuel itself. It was contaminated. Well, unfortunately, we didn't finish.
So there's all kinds of different problems available, eh?
Yeah, if you crash, hit something, suspension collapses or whatever. For the last year and a half or so, the car has been so disgustingly reliable that we don't have to do anything to it. We do all the preparation before the event, and it really saves a lot of time.
Great.
Makes life a lot easier.
They're very dedicated to the sport, and they're essential to it. I mean, we've had times where you come through, and there's something wrong with third gear or something, and it's pouring rain, and you got an hour and a half, and you just tell them to change the transmission, they do it, and you finish. You know, you go into second or third place, whatever, and it's only because they're really dedicated to it. You can't get by without them. Service crew is essential.
I think that the best cars are built by a group of people that have excellence on one field.
So now we've seen what these rallyists do. But the original question goes deeper than this. When we ask, what is rallying, we must not just look at what the competitors are trying to achieve. We must also ask who these people are. Because the sport is defined as much by those involved as by what it is they do.
My name's Peter Hill.
Bob Burton.
You in hand charge?
Art McKenzie.
Matt Sweeney.
Myron Wintonic.
Rick Coots, Dominic Daly.
And what exactly are you doing today?
Well, I just came down from Edmonton for the day to lend a hand, see what I could help out with.
These people are as diverse as the roads they drive on, coming from far and wide to participate in this sport.
I'm from Montreal. George in the car is from Calgary.
It's a pretty long distance relationship.
Well, most of the rallies are out east, so he'll truck the car down after these rallies and then keep it out east, and then since I'm already there, it's not a problem, and he flies down to do them.
Where are you from?
Los Angeles?
And that's quite a drive to come up here to Hinton.
Oh yeah, it's a drive, but we had a nice vacation coming up here. We took 2 weeks and went through Nevada and Idaho and Montana and up from Calgary, and we camped and went all kinds of places that we could find. We vacationed on the way, in other words.
Have you entered any other rallies on the way up?
We're going to go to Calgary next week.
I'm from North Hollywood, California.
And what do you do down there?
I'm a motion picture special effects man, and in fact, our entire crew is motion picture special effects men.
And so what brings you to the sport?
Well, we're both of us long-term desert racers, and we built this little pre-runner truck here, which you normally use to go over an off-road race course before the race. And there was a pro rally scheduled out near where we live one weekend. We thought, well, we'll go out and take a look at them. So we went out there, hiked out there, and hiked out to the first turn. And about 3 people in the row embedded themselves in this turn. And we looked at each other and we says, hey, I bet you we could do better than that. Yeah. So we went home and we took our pre-runner and we dropped it to the ground. And the next pro rally, we entered it and had a good time.
So it's just a good time you're going for?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Is there any...
I mean, we're not doing this for the money, that's for sure.
Are you...
It's going really well. The course is really nice. It's fast, high-speed gravel. I like it.
Have you had any problems with near accidents yet? Or?
Yeah, we came up on a corner and it was a lot tighter than it looked, and there was a swamp on the outside, but we managed to stay on the road mostly. The adrenaline rush is wonderful.
Yeah.
I enjoy the challenging myself to do better each time. The people are really nice to be around. Not back off over crests and going into corners. Listen to my co-driver when he tells me keep the foot down.
And who is your co-driver?
My co-driver is Bob Burton.
Okay. And I think Bob's standing just behind me, isn't he?
He sure is.
There we go.
Wait till he's talking.
Hi, what's your name?
Bob Burton.
Bob Burton. You're the co-driver for Ewan, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And so what brings you to these things?
The excitement, the fun. Yeah, it's a good challenge, and it tests you to do as good as you can, and that's and it's a really good accurate judgment. You know, you're racing against others who are trying their hardest as well, and if you can do well, you feel like you've done a pretty good accomplishment.
How much personal sacrifice do you have to make to come to these?
Oh, there's a lot of time involved and a fair bit, little bit of money. More money if you're preparing the car and handling the car and everything, but whereas if you, as a co-driver, you don't have near the involvement because of the car is the driver's car.
Right. You come from fair ways away, don't you?
Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina. Yeah. So I drive to every event quite a significant distance, and a little bit more than the Alberta people.
Yeah.
But this is where it happens.
Great, eh?
Yep.
Good, thanks, Bob.
He always drives the door one. You gotta be a good dog killer there.
Cal Booth from Calgary.
And what's your function in the rally today, Cal?
I am the creator of the software that scores this rallies in Western Canada, I guess. And
so what do you find interesting about rallying that draws you out to these?
My main attraction is writing the software for it to make it go, or to make it score. It's a real hassle to do it by hand, from what I've seen. That's why I did it.
My team's Athena Racing, and today my co-driver and I, Jennifer Considine, and I are out.
How are you doing today?
We're doing pretty good. We're having a little bit of problems with our intercom system and our odometer, but we're overcoming the problems and we're having a really good time.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher, a grade 1 teacher in Calgary.
And how is this sport? What draws you to this sport?
It's just really fun to get in a car and go a little bit faster than you normally would.
What do you think of the people that's involved in the sport?
Oh, they're fun. We have a lot of fun, good time at these events.
Do you enter these events a lot, mostly for fun, or are you expecting to win and get a lot of prizes?
Oh, no. We enter to have fun, to have a good time, to meet new people. This time we have a few people out from the States, so that's good to see. The very first rally I ever went to was I went to the Olympus rally in Washington, and I was a spectator, and that's what got me hooked on it.
Not the only people involved in rallying. Behind the scenes, many volunteers are at work running the rally. There is timing to be done, and the cars must be tracked to ensure safety. With all of these people involved, the rally often takes on a life of its own. This is one of the reasons that the sport is popular amongst those that help run the rally. To a smaller extent, the competitors feel this way too, but for many, the reasons for entering are more personal.
There's always been an awe with motorsports, people wanting to go fast. Rallying is probably the first sport that I got introduced in motorsports, that aspect of motorsports, and I got attached to it right off the bat. The fact that it is probably not one of the most popular motorsport activities, but I think it's just a misunderstanding what the sport is all about. And it's outdoors, and you've got all kinds of weather, and you meet a lot of good people because it's basic grassroots motorsports, and not having the high profile, people are probably a little more friendly, and it hasn't got the as much of a business aspect to it as some of the high profile motorsports like NASCAR and that kind of stuff.
You know, over the years of both being a organizer and a co-driver, I have met many, many wonderful people. Some of them have remained our very best friends in the entire world. They're great people, try very hard, and it's very enjoyable working and being with them.
And the reason why people do it is the reason why people like playing hockey or they like sailing or playing tennis is the competition side of it. I mean, all humans have a competitive side to them, and they really get pleasure out of doing something right, doing it right. And you cannot, doesn't matter how perfect you are, you can not always get it right. And it's just fantastic, the feeling of going through an unknown road and competing against maybe 50 other teams, and you're doing every move right. You could be doing on a snow and ice-covered road 190, 200 kilometers an hour, and just doing every move right. And at the end of the event, you know, that's what it took for you to win. It's no different, just like doing any other sport. On the other hand, is also like art. It's a lot of yourself is shown in what you do there. Your personality shows a lot in the way you do it and how you do it. It's very different. If we compare it against other motorsports, it's very different because it would be equal to going mountain climbing, and the practice you would do, let's say, in wall climbing at a sports center or at a university. At wall climbing, you know every inch of that wall, and that would be sort of equal to road racing. I mean, you know every inch of the speedway. Is a matter of getting perfected on it, and that's how you win over your competitor. In rallying, you don't know every inch of that road. It's like climbing an actual mountain where each rock is different and you've never been there before. And if you've been there before, well, you cannot memorize every curve and every rock in that mountain. Therefore, it's a challenge every time. You don't know what's going to be on the other side of the corner. So there's several things that give you satisfaction in rallying. Like many other sports, your body gets trained to do certain things that you would not do in everyday life. I recall one time several years ago in a rally in Défi, Sénégal, north of Montreal, where we ran a stage that was about 11.5 kilometers. We ran it in 5 minutes and 17 seconds, and I thought it took us about 15, 20 minutes to run it. And the reason why I did that is because your mind and your body learns to slow down time in order for your reflections to be really fast. So at the end of that stage, I thought, oh, it must have been 15, 20 minutes. My co-driver says to me, it was 5 minutes, 17 seconds. I said, no, there must be some mistake. He says, no, it was 5 minutes, 17 seconds. To me, it felt like 20 minutes because my mind had slowed down the time in order to do every move. When you are driving, 150, 180 kilometers an hour, doing all kinds of curves and ups and downs, your reflections have to be fast.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of satisfaction on that. It's indescribable.
You have to do it, eh?
You just have to do it.
Rallying. It is a sport where you can compete as much against yourself as you can against your competitor. It is a sport where the action is fast, but where the experienced have an edge over the quickness of youth. It can be a glamorous and expensive sport, but many have more fun on a shoestring budget. It is definitely a sport that attracts friendly and interesting people. It is a sport where everyone gets involved to enjoy the vast and varied scenery of many new places. It is a sport where the normal ideas of transportation are pushed aside and where one strives to drive on the edge.